Disclaimer: the views and opinions in the Tao Live Media or comments those made on this channel are the personal opinions of the speakers and/or participants in no way reflect or represent the views and opinions held by the channel's broadcast. The channel's owner claims no ownership or responsibility for the statements or personal opinions made by the speakers and cannot be held accountable for the same.
Welcome to Tao Live. This is Vartman, and today's our guest is someone very, very, very special. He's from my own city, Perth, Western Australia. And about Vishrant, you may have seen him taking interview of Osho in Oregon. If you haven't, I will post in the comment. Please watch and see who Vishrant is. But now Vishrant is an enlightened master, and his life story has been amazing, from a journalist to entrepreneur to many other things, and then finally enlightened. So I will like you to know more about Vishrant. Thank you, Vishrant.
Hello.
Hi, Vishrant. Welcome. Wow. I don't know, Vishrant, what to say. If you can say something, please.
You know, I live in silence. I will answer questions, but my mind is silent. It's still. It stopped talking to itself 24 years ago.
Wow.
It is
So,
very quiet.
Vishrant, that was the main question when I posted my teaser about you as enlightened master. I got many reactions and personal messages, people asking how you can say he's enlightened master. And yeah, so can you please tell something about what enlightenment is, and what about you and your enlightenment, please?
Okay. So I don't call myself an enlightened master.
Fine.
Other people do that. They just come and sit with me and get their minds blown and start to find themselves as truth. And then they call me an enlightened master.
Yeah.
There's just nobody here. There's no sense of somebody here. There hasn't been for 24 years. There's talking, but there's no sense of anybody talking.
So, how you came to Osho first time?
How can I say that
How you
again,
came
please?
across Osho?
How did I?
Reach to Osho? How Osho came in your life first time?
The first time, well, I was I was on the run from some people who wanted to do some damage to me. And I decided to hide in the Orange people because I was a businessman. But I knew some of them, so I decided to hide with them. And I did a group with a guy in Fremantle called Indivar. And in the group, while I was in the group, I had a vision, which I don't have visions. And in this vision, I was looking down a great big water pipe. You could walk in it. It was so big. And at the end of this pipe was this little Indian man calling me like this.
Wow.
And I looked and I looked and I looked and I saw that it was Osho.
Wow.
And I then applied for sannyas because I was called.
Wow.
And it was so unusual because I was the most unlikely person to become a sannyasin. I was a reasonably high-powered businessman with a large company. And most of the sannyasins were very hippie-like, and I was definitely not hippie-like. I was more business-like. And so I felt a little bit like a fish out of water, but I'd been called, and I came. I felt the call.
So your enlightenment was like sudden enlightenment, or gradually you realized something.
Look, when I got to the ranch and eventually spoke to Osho, interviewed him, I had no idea what enlightenment was. I just thought that he was a really, really smart, switched on, beautiful talking man who I admired and who I actually had fallen in love with. I had no idea what enlightenment was until I sat in front of him and he blew my mind. My mind just disappeared. And all of a sudden I realized, oh my God, I'm so out of my depth, it's not funny. But I had the questions written down. So in the first question, I was reading the question. I was reading one word at a time, not knowing what had been said before and not knowing what was coming, just reading the question.
I
He
saw
got me.
that interview. You had been so beautiful. You were like, I have 17 questions. Last ones are the most difficult. And he's looking at you with so much love. And yeah, yeah, yeah. You're not like other tough journalists. You're so full of love in that one can see that. Did Osho knew that time that you are his lover? Means somebody told him already that you are his lover and his
I was wearing his mala. It would have been obvious to him. Yeah, I was wearing his mala, but he was playing with energy with me. He was hitting me with energy, with his hands and with his eyes. I was getting hit with energy, and he was just blowing me away, and I wasn't ready for it. I had no idea what was happening. I thought I was just there to interview him, but that wasn't the case. He was actually being a master. He was taking me apart. The words weren't important. It was the energy he was playing with that was working on me. And within a year and a half of that interview with him, I started having satori's, major satori's, where I'd find myself as the universe, every particle in it being love. And this just changed my life immensely. It changed the whole direction of my life, because I ended up, after those satori's, within a few weeks, walking into my companies, handing all my companies over to my staff, including everything in them, 14 offices of furniture, and walking out as a bum. I gave everything away because I realized it was in the way of enlightenment. I realized it was in the way of love, and I just wanted to go for it. And so I was removing the big obstacle, which was me as a businessman, because me as a businessman was a war machine, and that had to go.
Yeah.
And then I started walking around Australia. I took my shoes off and I walked around Australia for 4 years barefoot, looking for my heart, because I was pretty heartless as a businessman. And I realized that that was the only thing valuable here. There was nothing else valuable here but heart. And if you didn't have heart, you were bankrupt. So I was 33 years old. I was physically quite wealthy until I gave all my companies away. But I felt bankrupt because I didn't feel that I had any heart. And it is the true jewel of consciousness. There's nothing else valuable here but heart. So after walking around Australia for 4 years, I did find heart. I became a nobody going nowhere. And in that nobody going nowhere, that level of openness, that lack of ego, heart started to appear. And it affected my mind in such a way that I wanted to help people. And so I went back to school or college and became a naturopath and a psychotherapist, so I could have some tools to help people with. And my love affair began, my love affair with humanity. And it was a result of that interview with Osho. The guy blew my mind and opened me up so much in that interview, that 40 minutes that I spoke to him. But the person that emerged after that was nothing like the person that went in.
Wow. So, Vishrant, you had been a big entrepreneur, and you, in that time, you reached to Fremantle Osho commune, which was generally which was generally like a different type than the like people like you, and it was influenced by Sheila. So, seeing other sannyasis, didn't you feel like that? What is this? This is not my type. And still, how you kept your trust in Osho and in this journey and enlightenment compared to others, what you were seeing there.
Well, my parents didn't like Osho. They were wondering why I was wearing red robes, why I was wearing a mala with a picture of in Indian on it, and they really objected to it. And so did my sales staff. I had 30 sales staff at that time working on phones in offices, and 5 clerical staff, and they objected to it. They said, "We don't, because switched from wearing 3-piece suits to robes and beads." And so I got 14 6-foot high pictures of Osho and put one in every office I had up on the wall. And if they didn't like it, they could leave. Because I was with Osho now. He was my
Right.
master. And
Wow.
I didn't care what other people thought. It didn't really matter anymore because my love was with my master.
Wow.
Mm.
Vishrant also has an vision of Newman, and I consider you as one of Osho's Newman. So, what do you say about it?
Osho talked about flowers in his garden, and I was one
Yeah.
of the flowers in his garden that bloomed. He
Right.
also talked about the new man being Zorba the Buddha
Yeah.
in the marketplace, but not of the marketplace. And that occurred 24 years ago
Wow.
in the marketplace, but not of the marketplace. At first, I just sat still and stared into space for 6 months because there was nothing moving inside. And then one of my Advaita Vedanta teachers came and said, "Look, you've got to come out. You've got to come out into the marketplace. You can't just sit still and stare into space." And so I had to learn how to blink again. I had to learn how to look away when people talked to me. I had to learn to become a human again because it was all gone.
Yeah.
Because we're not human. We are pure beingness, all of us. We are
Yeah.
pure awareness, all of us. And so I became a human again, a pretender, actually. And that's the funny thing. Everybody's an actor anyway. Nobody's playing any role that's them. All the roles are acts. Osho suggested that we do acting classes, so we'd work that one out. Well, I did. I did acting classes. And it was really clear that I was none of the roles that I presented to anybody. They were all acts and that I could change them in a moment's notice if I wanted to. But what is real, and that can only be discovered by turning awareness back to itself, is our own true nature, which is beingness, which doesn't have separation from anything because it is a totality. And that is what we are.
Yeah.
And that is what Osho was trying to show us, because he was living, or actually, living's the wrong word. He was existing as that.
Yeah. My viewers, I will like to suggest you to know Vishrant better. Please go to YouTube and search Vishrant Prem with Osho. So please watch that interview whenever you have time. And Vishrant, can I play one video of yours to show my viewers that how here in Perth you are like a new man? So I am having a clip of yours. Can I play it, please? Jorvati Buddha. voltage, Vishrant. Even I couldn't dare to go in this event. I was just because too much traffic and all, and you were so much happening there. Hats off to you. That's real Osho teaching.
Yeah, I mean, people have this weird idea of what enlightenment looks like.
Yeah.
They think it looks like Osho or the Buddha or Nisargadatta or uh, any of these awakened teachers, but it looks like you. When Vartman wakes up, enlightenment is going to look like Vartman, and it's going to talk like Vartman, and it's yeah, very cool, very cool, and it's going to be interested in what Vartman's interested in. And so people make a mistake of thinking enlightenment looks a certain way. The only way you can tell if someone's enlightened is if they have a permanent Buddha field around them. That's the only way. There is no other way. Because different bodies, different attitudes, different ways of being in the world. I like heavy metal rock and roll. Harley Davidson motorbikes and Mustangs, you know?
Yeah. Maybe this interview proved to be contagious, and it brings to same realization to many other sannyasins, because at present there is much uh, is happening in Osho's world. If you know, which is said, many things happening. I won't like to go into it, but if what I think is, Vishrant, that Osho was so direct about enlightenment, and he clarified us so nicely and clearly about everything. Then what is lacking? Why there are not so many enlightened people in Osho's world? If you can please tell something to them that get enlightened.
Okay. So, first of all, people don't do the work on themselves.
Right.
It's not like you can suddenly wake up. You can't wake up anyway. It happens or it doesn't happen. But you can prepare the mind for enlightenment by removing all the obstacles that are in the way. Anything that causes contraction in you is an obstacle. So all belief systems that have expectations on them that when not met cause contraction have to be undone. If they're not undone, the chances are, even if you do wake up, awareness will pull away from itself and go back onto the mind with the contraction. So a mind that supports enlightenment is an equanimous mind, a mind that is surrendered, a mind that doesn't react when attacked, doesn't react when giving fire. It might respond, but it won't react. It won't go into contraction. Any time you take offense to anything, it is an indication that you have a belief system that is in the way of higher consciousness, in the way of heart, in the way of enlightenment. And so the people who can get you the most are your best teachers. The ones who upset you the most are your best teachers, because they show you where you're still caught, where you're still holding belief systems that trap you in lower consciousness. Because the moment we contract, the moment we resist life, we go into suffering. It's simple. Someone who's awake doesn't suffer. They might experience pain, but they don't suffer because they don't resist life. They've learned better. They accept life as it is.
Yes. As you talked about the Buddha field, and in your presence there is certain energy and feelings. So, do you think at present the situation of Osho commune Pune, those people could have managed the Buddha field better than it is right now? Big, yeah. So right now, energy has gone very much down in Koregaon Park and Pune and Ashram. So, what you have to say about it?
The object of the game there, I think, is making money, not helping people wake up. I think it's pretty simple, and it's been like that since Osho died. I don't think the people there have an investment in enlightenment or helping people get enlightened. They have an investment in making money and having power. Osho had an investment in helping people wake up, and that was it. He didn't have another investment. I think that some of the people working for him had an investment in making money and power, but he himself did not. He was interested in helping people get free, and that was it. That was his purpose here, no other purpose. Unfortunately, what's happened in Pune, from my observation, is it's more interested in making money than helping people wake up. There are sannyasins who are alive who could go there and hold satsang, who are awake, who do have Buddha fields, but I'm sure they would not be welcome there. They don't want any threat whatsoever there to their power.
Yes, yes.
Osho
You
is still... I want to say this. Osho is still alive in the energy field of his awakened sannyasins. Yes. Because the energy field, the Buddha field that is created, is the same Buddha field as Osho's, the same Buddha field. Yeah. The body might be different, the words might be different, but the teaching would probably be the same. Because anyone who woke up with Osho, Osho is the master. He is the beloved.
So, knowing Osho, does it somewhere pains you to see the situation of Osho's world, that they could do better and they could help the world also better, which is in much in need? So, does it pains you that Osho sannyasis can do better and they are not?
Not at all. One of the beautiful things that you learn on the way to waking up is that you accept life exactly as it is. There is no right, there is no wrong, there is no good, there is no bad, there is just what is. And with that, the mind stays still.
And being up there, you might know these people in Oregon. Did you met ever these Jayesh or Sheila or any of these people?
I met Sheila here in Perth a few times. I met Jayesh quite a few times when I was in Oregon, because I was there in 1984 and 1985. I was there when Osho was arrested. I was there. That was very painful to see him in chains. But I was there and I saw a lot. And Osho told me a lot too, because I interviewed him. I asked him a lot of the questions that you want answers to. They're on the video where I interviewed him, because he talked about what he wanted for his sannyasins and what had happened in Oregon, what Sheila had been up to. And he was very clear about all of that. It's in the interview.
I heard from you that Triple Gems story of Buddha. So, in regard to Sheila, will you like to tell anything about 3 gems of that Buddha story?
Yeah, the three gems of Buddhism. The triple gem.
The triple gem. My interview with Sheila. So, do you think she is protecting it or she is harming it? And what is that story?
So the triple gem is the Buddha, the teachings of the Buddha, and the Sangha of the Buddha. And all of them need to be protected. All of them need to be defended. And so Osho needed to be defended. He was the Buddha. His teachings needed to be defended. And the Sangha, the group that gathers around someone who's awake, needed to be defended. And I don't think that Sheila really did protect Osho. She seems to run him down. There's a very different story that she tells as to why she left, as to what he told me as to why she left. And so there's a discrepancy there. I would lean towards trusting Osho.
Thank you, Vishrant. There is one friend of mine. She would like to also ask you a few questions. Can I take her on screen, please?
Yes.
Thanks. Viewers, this is Siddhi. Vishrant, this is Siddhi. Siddhi, welcome.
Hello, namaste. Namaste, Vartman. Namaste, Vishrant.
Namaste.
Thank you for the opportunity. So I was listening to the questions and the beautiful answers. I was just wondering, Vishrant, what message or advice would you want to give to today's youth who are on the path of love, truth, and enlightenment?
There is only one thing that is valuable here, and that is love. And every endeavor should be to support it. And if you are wide open, you will be perceiving it. If you are not wide open, there is a very good chance you will not be perceiving it. Because openness is it allows the perception of love. Closure locks us off from seeing it. So people who are highly defended don't tend to experience much love because the defense systems are in the way. But what's beautiful on this planet is love. And what can change this planet is love. Nothing else can change it, only love. And my master, Osho, was a teacher of love. He was a heart teacher. And I am a heart teacher because it's the only thing worth teaching here. Nothing else is worth teaching because it is the very thing that is lacking, love. When you find love, you love everyone. You don't, it's not just your family, it's not just your partner. When you find genuine love, it has one quality, it loves. And you love everyone. And it is so beautiful and so precious. Everything should be done for it. Everything.
Mala, I had muted you because there was some disturbance in sound. So, would you like to ask some other question? Mala, can you hear us? Mala, you're mute. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. So, yeah, and yeah, soon is your satsang's time, so I won't like to take much time of yours. And can I have some another episode with you, please?
I'm sorry, what was that?
I was like, soon your satsang time will start. I know people come to have satsang with you. So shall we wrap it this interview, and can I have some other episode with you other time, please?
Oh, yes. Yes, you're welcome to come up here and have a cup of tea. You'd be very,
Thank you.
very
Thank
welcome.
you very much. I'll come to your place. You live in mountains, right? Towards
Yes,
Kalamanda or something?
I live in Rollystone, which is up in the hills, Yogi.
Okay.
I
Thank you.
I live with a whole pile of sannyasins up here, actually.
Right.
Some of them are Osho sannyasins,
Right.
but all of them are my sannyasins, and they are all lovers of truth.
Right. Well, I live near Fremantle. I'll come down to you. Thanks for the invitation.
I could see you in Fremantle because I teach in Fremantle's on Thursdays and
Right.
Wednesday nights, and I'm
Right.
down there. I have a house down there as well, and I
Wow.
party down there at Gino's.
Right. Wow. I'll come and join you everywhere. Thank you very much, Vishrant. It has been pleasure having you. And thank you. Thanks a lot. Love you, Vishrant. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I know you
Thank
call
you,
yourself
viewers.
Yogi. It's Yogi Bear, isn't it?
Yogi Bear. You can call me Yogi Bear. Thank
You can
you.
you can call me Boo Boo.
Thank you. Thank you. No, you're Vishrant, a Buddha. Viewers, if you have any questions, please comment or send me messages. I will ask Vishrant in next episode. Thank you, viewers, for watching us. I say bye now. Thank you. Thanks, Vishrant.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.
Disclaimer: the views and opinions in the Tao Live Media or comments those made on this channel are the personal opinions of the speakers and/or participants in no way reflect or represent the views and opinions held by the channel's broadcast. The